All right, let's talk about something that every single one of us who lifts has worried about. It's that nagging thought that creeps in before vacation or when work gets crazy. You've spent all this time, all this effort building your strength, building your physique. But how long does it take for it all to just disappear? Well, today, we're going to tear apart the science and give you the real answers.
You know the feeling, right? It's this deep-seated fear that every day you miss at the gym, your muscles are just deflating. But is that what's actually happening? Is that fear totally justified, or is a lot of it just in our heads? Let's find out.
Okay, first things first, let's tackle that immediate feeling, that sensation of shrinking that seems to happen way faster than it should.
Man, it's so frustrating. You take just a few days off, you walk past the mirror, you give a little flex in. It's just not the same. That pump is gone. Your muscles don't feel as hard. Maybe your shirt even feels a little looser. It can seriously feel like all that progress just vanished overnight. But I'm here to tell you, what you're seeing isn't what you think it is. Not even close.
And here is the absolute key. That initial change, the thing that sends us all into a panic, it has nothing to do with losing actual muscle tissue. It's a temporary illusion. Your body is just getting rid of some stored fuel and all the water that was hanging out with it.
There's actually a scientific name for this, pseudo-atrophy, and it literally just means false shrinking. It's a visual trick. The best way to think about it is like your muscles are balloons. You haven't lost the balloon itself, that's your actual muscle fiber, you've just let some of the air out for a little while. So here's exactly how that works. When you're training regularly, your muscles are just jam-packed with glycogen, which is basically stored carbs for fuel. Now here's the crazy part. For every single gram of glycogen you store, your body holds on to 3 to 4 grams of water right there in the muscle. So when you stop training, your body goes, hey, we don't need all this fuel on reserve right now, and it lets those glycogen stores drop. The result? A whole bunch of water leaves the muscle too, which is what makes you look and feel smaller, even though all the important protein structures are perfectly fine.
Okay, so if that first week isn't real muscle loss, then when does the real deal actually start? When should the alarm bells really start to go off? Let's look at the timeline.
Now, check this out. It's a step-by-step process. That first week is all about that metabolic shift, that glycogen and water drop we just talked about. But after about 2 weeks, something else starts to happen, a neural decline. This just means the connection between your brain and your muscles gets a little rusty. It's like the software that runs the hardware gets a little glitchy. So you feel weaker, but the muscle tissue itself is still there. For most of us, true atrophy, the actual breakdown of muscle fibers, doesn't even begin until around the 3-week mark of doing nothing at all. And of course, how long you've been training really matters. If you're a beginner, yeah, those new gains are a little less locked in, so they can fade a bit faster. But if you're an advanced lifter, someone with years of work in the bank, your body has made some deep, long-lasting changes. It holds on to that hard-earned muscle for dear life. Think of it like you've built up muscle equity. The more time you've invested, the more your body wants to protect that investment. But what if you do take a long break? Let's say life happens, you blow past that 3-week mark, and you do lose some real, actual muscle. Is all that work just gone forever? No, not even close. Because your body has this incredible, almost magical secret weapon. I mean, this is the ultimate fear, right? That you're going to have to go all the way back to square one, fighting for every single rep just like you did when you first started. Well, thanks to some amazing cell biology, the answer to that question is a huge, resounding no. Let me introduce you to the heroes of this story, myonuclei. Inside every single one of your muscle fibers, you have these tiny little command centers. The best way to think of them is like factory managers. If your muscle fiber is the factory, the myonuclei are the bosses on the floor, yelling out the orders to build more protein and make the whole operation bigger and stronger.
Now here's where the magic happens. When you lift weights, you don't just make the factory bigger. Your body actually hires and installs more factory managers to handle all that new work. It's a permanent upgrade to your muscle-building infrastructure.
And this is the absolute game changer. When you stop training and that muscle starts to shrink, the factory might get a little smaller, but the managers don't get fired. They stay on the payroll. All those myonuclei you earned through hard work, they stick around, just waiting for the call to get back to work. They are a permanent reminder of the gains you built.
So what does this all mean? It means when you do get back to the gym, you don't have to go through that slow, grinding process of hiring new managers. All your experienced pros are already there, on site, ready to ramp up production immediately. That is the real science behind muscle memory, and it's why you can regain lost size and strength in just a fraction of the time it took you to build it in the first place. Your hard work is never, ever truly wasted. Okay, so we know the timeline and we know we have an amazing safety net. But what can we actually do during a break to keep as much muscle as possible? Let's get into some super practical strategies.
It really all comes down to two big things that you have total control over: what you're putting in your body and the tiny little bit of training you might still be able to squeeze in. And trust me, getting these two things right can make a world of difference.
Let's start with nutrition. See, when you're not training, you're not getting that powerful muscle-building signal from lifting weights. So you have to create that signal with your food. The key ingredient is protein, and more specifically, an amino acid called leucine. Leucine is basically the ignition key that turns on muscle protein synthesis. So by hitting these kinds of protein goals throughout the day, and especially getting a solid dose before bed, you're constantly sending your body a little signal that says, hey, hold on to this muscle. We still need it.
All right, on to the second pillar. And this is where things get really wild. How much do you actually have to train just to keep what you've got? I promise you, the answer is probably way, way less than you think.
Just look at that number, 1/9. It sounds completely made up, but believe it or not, research shows that you can often maintain your muscle with as little as 1/9 of your normal training volume. No, that is not a typo. Let me show you how that's even possible.
The whole secret is right here. To build muscle, yeah, you need a decent amount of volume, sets and reps. But to maintain muscle, the single most important thing is intensity. In other words, lifting heavy. Your muscles just need a quick, potent reminder to stay strong. How many sets you do and how often you go to the gym suddenly becomes way less important.
So what does this actually look like? We're talking about maybe going into the gym once a week, doing 1 or 2 really hard sets of a big lift, like a squat or a bench press, and taking those sets right up close to failure. That's it. That's the whole plan. That powerful stimulus is enough to tell your body, do not get rid of this muscle. It's an unbelievably efficient way to protect your gains when time is tight.
So let's put it all together. That panic you feel after a week off, it's an illusion. It's mostly just water. Real muscle loss is a slow burn. It doesn't really get going for about 3 weeks for most of us. Even if you do lose some, muscle memory is your ace in the hole, guaranteeing you'll bounce back fast. And best of all, you have the tools to fight back with smart nutrition and a ridiculously small amount of intense training.
At the end of the day, the science completely flips the script. You can replace that fear of losing everything with the absolute confidence that your body is designed to bounce back. All your hard work created a permanent foundation. So go take that vacation, rest up when you need to, and know that the gym will be right there waiting. The real question isn't if you'll get it all back, but just how awesome it's going to feel when you do. If you found this useful, do me a favor and hit that like button, and subscribe for more deep dives into the science of getting strong.